Okay, this is a really good question. So basically, how are you supposed to count your calories or track your calories if the food is homemade and or you just don't know how many calories are in the food? All right, this is actually perfect because these two go hand in hand. And I want to talk about a couple things with this. The first one, basically going back to here, is this. When you're out at a holiday, you don't have to be tracking. Now, it's not bad if you do, and I'm going to give you some strategies if you want to. But if your goal is to be in a deficit throughout the holidays, or to lose fat throughout the holidays, the one holiday party here, the Thanksgiving party, the New Year's party, the Christmas, the Hanukkah, the 7 to 10 parties, maybe throughout the holiday season, those are not gonna make or break your progress. And you don't need to count every single calorie in order to succeed. And this mindset is so interesting to me because as humans, one thing I've noticed that we do consistently is we focus on the one area, the small little minutia that might hurt our progress and magnify it rather than looking at the vast majority of what we're doing that could be positive and that would absolutely positively impact our progress, but we just focus on the one little eensy weensy teeny tiny fucking thing that really doesn't fucking matter as long as you get right back on track, but we just fucking love to make our problems bigger than they actually are. Go to the holiday party and enjoy it. It's not gonna throw you off track. It's not gonna ruin your progress. That's it. You have to understand that. That's why I really hammered that home here. The vast majority of the holiday season is not eating out unless you decide to, in which case fine, maybe you wanna be in a calorie surplus at that point. But the reality is you have the ability to track your calories every other day and to stay on track as often as possible. So when you do go to these and you don't know the calories, you're totally fine. Now, having said that, I'm gonna give you one strategy if you want to track your calories and another strategy if you want to be mindful of how much you're eating but not actually counting your calories. If you want to track your calories, there's two things you need to know. The first is this: you will not know exactly how many calories you're eating. Get that in your head right now. You will not know precisely how many. Even if you have everything laid out in front of you on a perfect day, you still don't really know exactly how many calories there is. It's like there's always some error. But when it's homemade food and there's a lot of fucking stuff and there's just like an amazing situation of all this great food that you get to once a year, you're not gonna have the precise numbers. So understand that now. If you're getting anxiety trying to figure out what the exact calories are, stop. You're not gonna find the exact calories. So you have to go to the next best thing. Now what I would recommend is getting a calorie app. My personal favorite is Mike's Macros. It's really good. MyFitnessPal, it works. FitDay, it works. There's a bunch. Choose one, download it. It's free. Use them. And what you can do is, if you want, just put in what you're eating. There could be 17 different options in the calorie app, and they could range in calories from like 100 calories to 1,000 calories, who knows? At least you're getting an estimate. At least you're getting a number. And a lot of people are like, well, what? Like, I need to know the exact number. It's like, for me, that sort of is like when you're driving and you want to make sure you're hitting the speed limit, are you just watching your speedometer the whole time? Like, oh, if I don't look at the speedometer, I don't know how fast I'm going. You don't need to look at the speedometer the entire time you're driving. And you don't need an exact measurement the entire time. Use your best guess. Having an idea of how much you're eating, just by the fact that you're writing it all down, is way better than not tracking it all. Now, on the other hand, let's say you want to monitor how much you're eating, keep your calories in check, but you don't actually want to track them, you don't want to count them. Here's what I recommend. And by the way, I've actually spoken about this before in a video called How to Make Fat Loss More Sustainable. The link is in the description. And what I spoke about was essentially creating a bright line, creating rules ahead of time. What happens is this: a lot of times people get nervous or anxious about going to these parties, going to events, to social gatherings, to holiday parties. They get nervous. They don't want to ruin their progress. But what happens is that anxiety increases when they don't have a plan, when they don't know what they're going to do. And if you've decided you're not going to count calories, totally fine. But you need to have a plan. You need to have something in place. And for me, I would recommend making a clear set guideline on exactly how much you will eat. For me personally, I like to say one plate. You get one plate of food, and you can put whatever the fuck on it you want, but it's one plate. If you want to stack that shit high, go for it. At least that way, you're limited to one plate. Whereas most people, when there's a buffet of things and they have multiple plates, they eat way more than they expect or intend to, and then they feel awful. When you limit yourself to one plate, even though it might be more calories than you should be eating in a deficit, at least you're limiting yourself. And that is where you can set yourself up for success and getting right back on track.